we discovered a section within the chamber detailing a story, the most complete account of Egypt's founding we have ever encountered.
Behold, the stone-carved images of the beginning. Here, under the great arc of the sun, the goddess Meshet the huntress, lion-headed and fierce, lifts a newborn from the sand. The child's mother, a nameless woman of the desert tribes, lays dying beneath the shade of an acacia tree. The newborn does not cry. His first breath is drawn in silence, and in his small hand he clutches a black scorpion, unyielding to its sting. The gods whisper his name, Selkhan, the child of venom, the lord of the waste. He is nursed by the wilderness, raised by warriors of the Rakai, those who follow the Red Bull. In his youth, he walks barefoot upon the scorching sands, learning the ways of spear and blade. His eyes, carved in deep relief, are always turned toward the Black Mountains, where the god Set, the Storm Lord, waits. The next panel, the sky is shattered by lightning. Selkhan, now a man, climbs the Black Mountain of Nut, his arms painted with scorpion venom. At its peak, he enters the cave of Set, where no mortal has dared tread. Here, in red ochre, the god Set, jackal-eared and tall, emerges from the darkness. In one hand, he holds the desert staff, in the other, the crown of storms. Selkhan kneels. He offers his blood, his warriors, his kingdom to be. Set laughs. He marks Selkhan's brow with a scorpion sting, binding him in the ancient pact of conquest. In exchange for his devotion, Set grants Selkhan dominion over war, strength beyond men, and the power to command the sands. Selkhan rises, no longer a man, but the Scorpion King. The hieroglyphs now stretch across an entire chamber, depicting the long war. Selkhan's warriors, tattooed with scorpion sigils, march beside their king, their spears raised high. They descend the Nile, sweeping through the green lands like a sandstorm. In one carving, Selkhan slays the bull king of Thynis, marking the beginning of his reign over Upper Egypt. In another, he stands before the gates of Wazit, his scorpion banner rising over the city as the priests bow before him. In yet another, the god Set stands at Selkhan's side, his divine spear striking down the falcon banners of Horus, god of the north. One by one, the cities of Lower Egypt fall. The papyrus-crowned lords of the Delta kneel. The red and white crowns are joined. Selkhan, in the final panel of this chapter, sits upon the throne of the two lands. His serpent staff coils at his feet. His enemies are bound in chains. First ruler of all Egypt is crowned. But lo, the walls darken, the hieroglyphs twist in warning. In these carvings, the gods convene in secret. Horus, falcon-eyed, calls upon his father Osiris, the first king. Are, the Sun Lord, turns his gaze upon the throne of Selkhan, displeased. Even Thoth, the keeper of wisdom, carves warnings into stone. Selkhan's reign is one of blood, war, and conquest, but not balance, not might. In a final act of defiance, Selkhan erects a temple to Set in the heart of Buto, the city of Wadjet, the cobra goddess of the north. A grave insult to the gods of Egypt. The balance has been broken. The next panel is carved in deep gouges, chaotic strokes. The gods descend upon the two lands, striking at Selkhan's temples. The Nile turns red, its waters poisoned by divine wrath. The sky burns. The land shakes. The Scorpion King raises his spear, but even his power cannot halt the gods. And then Set abandons him. The hieroglyphs show the Storm Lord turning away, vanishing into the desert winds. The desert staff shatters. Selkhan, betrayed by his god, is left alone to face the wrath of heaven. The final chamber holds a single solemn panel. A young warrior stands upon the fallen body of Selkhan. His crown gleams in the light. His hand grips the flail and staff of kingship. His name is written in bold, unbroken lines. Narmer, the Scorpion's son. In this image, Narmer, King Scorpion II, receives a falcon upon his shoulder, the blessing of Horus. He kneels before the gods, offering balance and order in exchange for rule. The white crown of Upper Egypt and the red crown of Lower Egypt remain united, but under a new king. Selkhan, the first conqueror, is buried in darkness, his name erased from the tongues of priests. But his mark remains, deep in the stones, hidden from the eyes of the new order. His scorpion sigil lingers, waiting to rise again when the sands shift once more. Hidden beneath the final panel, nearly lost to time, lies a final inscription. He who walks the sand shall find the path. He who speaks the forgotten name shall call upon the storm once more. The scorpion does not die, it waits, its venom sleeping in the blood of kings.